What's going on, guys? Well, it is a beautiful day for November. It's almost 60 degrees here in Ohio. And it's the end of November. Christmas season has commenced. So it's not a bad day out here right now at all. I'm just fueling the truck up right now at the yard. And I am going to address your fun little criticisms on my opinion on the Tesla battery, or not Tesla battery, but the Tesla truck coming up in this video. So, if you want to stick around and, see me admit a little wrongdoing on my part, I'll go ahead and do it. I got no problem admitting when I'm wrong. As I said in the original video, I hoped that I would be wrong when it came to the price of that truck. So, anyways, if you want to stick around and watch that, go for it. I'll also have some other opinions that might trigger some of you Tesla fanboys. But go ahead and stick around and watch if you want to see what that is. Alright, guys? Peace. See ya. Hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving out there. Hope you all spent some good time with your families. And didn't think about work too much. I'm going to show you the damage, too, that was done on my truck that I talked about in another video. May as well. Why not? From somebody backing into me a few days ago. We got this right here. I think I don't know if that's going to need fixed or if that's going to need the whole hood replaced or not, but that down here, that whole bumper. Yeah, so could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse, but somebody backed into me with their truck. Luckily, they weren't going more than a couple miles an hour, so their initial hit really wasn't that bad. So still bad enough though that the fiberglass didn't withstand it very well. Neither did the plastic bumper or the fog light lens, but all that will be replaced, so it will look good as new again. Maybe even better than new, because the whole front bumper is going to get replaced now. Well, first off, some of y'all just hurt my feelings. You just hurt my feelings. You kept addressing my overweight issue and my redneck hill jack status and all that mumbo jumbo. I tell you what, right there, oh my God, I was just so distraught when y'all were just making fun of my weight, because I don't have thick skin or anything like that. No sirree, I don't have any kind of thick skin, no way. And I had no idea I was overweight, so I appreciate you all pointing that out to me. That was fantastic of y'all to do that. That was mighty nice of you. I hope the good Lord blesses y'all. I really do. I do, yes I do. Anyways, I didn't realize I spoke like a hill jack or looked like a hill jack until some of you all pointed that out to me. I knew I was fat, but didn't realize I was a hill jack. And I like to think of myself as somewhat fairly well spoken at times. At times I might stutter over my words, but y'all wanted to point out just how idiotic I was, and that's all good and swell. If you don't mind, I gotta go put a key in the mailbox. I'll be right back. Alright, well, I guess you all can just watch the road go by instead of listening or watching my ugly mug. And yes, the truck will be running in this video because, well, I'm driving. So I am sorry to disappoint you. I know the Tesla will be much quieter. That's good. I'm glad the Tesla will be quieter. That's fantastic. It'll be more environmentally friendly for the most part. That's fantastic. Yes, indeed. That's awesome. Right now, I got to go pick up a load of yogurt. Take it down to Allentown. People need their yogurt. They got to make their smoothies. But I also want to point out, I've actually lost about 10 pounds here in the past couple weeks, so I think I apparently knew I was overweight before you all decided to point it out to me. But again, I really appreciate it. That's, well, those that have no argument will insult. Well, I do sound a little butthurt with all that commentary, don't I? Guys, so what I am bringing you back here for is to, well, I'm going to go ahead and admit I was wrong on the price. That's what speculation is all about. I looked at it was they were charging $200,000 for the Roadster. Okay, the Tesla semi-truck is much bigger than the Roadster. It's going to have a much bigger responsibility than the Roadster. It's going to need to be able to pull 80,000 pounds, well, including the weight of the truck. So all the technology in the Roadster would basically have to be enlarged to accommodate the truck. You know what I mean? They're not going to be able to use the same size batteries. They're not going to be able to use, it's going to be the same technology, but to a greater degree. That's just obvious. So what I was wrong on, though, was the cost of the batteries. That was way off. I used a pretty bad source, apparently, to get that information from. After doing a little more research, realized that upon the debut of that truck, it's a 1,000 kilowatt hour battery on that truck, or whatever I think it is, 1,000 kilowatt hours. That battery should go for about $145,000. So I was off, obviously, way off. And as I admitted in my initial video, I was hoping that I was wrong, because if these trucks could actually be affordable to owner-operators, then it would really do, something pretty incredible to the industry. I know nobody wants to admit it. Nobody wants to, the hardcore truckers out there, nobody wants to admit that these electric trucks are going to take over and essentially better the industry over time, because we like the sound of that diesel engine. We like, it's nourishment to our ears. What can I say? It's just the way it is. Just like we like the sound of a good old American V8, we like the sound of a good old Detroit diesel engine, or a good Cummins diesel engine, something like that. It has a good tone to it. It's music. So, some truckers are going to be are going to feel a little worried that they're going to lose their diesel engines. It's maybe they won't completely lose them. I mean, they could probably keep using them, within, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years. But it's going to be harder and harder. I don't know if they're going to they might make a mandate, knowing our awesome government. They might make a mandate in the next couple of decades, if these electric trucks really take off. They might make a mandate, doing away with diesel engines. Who knows? Again, speculation, people. That's speculation. That's not fact. I'm not presenting anything in this video, nor the last video, as fact. So, bear with me on that. Grain of salt comes to mind. So, that it kind of sucks. It will be missed. For those of you that are not truck drivers, which I imagine 95% of who commented on the last video are probably not truck drivers. You're probably, Tesla fanboys. Take that as an insult or not, that's your choice. If you're a fanboy of Tesla, then you're a Tesla fanboy. I don't know what else to call you. So if you're a Tesla fanboy and you've never been behind the wheel of a big old 18-wheeler, then I can understand why you couldn't understand what I'm talking about when it comes to that. So that's just the way it is. I don't understand what it's like to, to work out there in California either, and come up with these fancy new gadgets, and, futuristic technology. I don't understand it, obviously, or else my last video would not have been criticized so heavily and negatively. Thank you again for that. That's great. But anyways, what I was saying about the Tesla truck with the $145,000 battery, even with that, I would expect, with all the technology going into this truck, which I'm assuming it's going to be able to drive itself over time, just like the Tesla Model S and the Tesla Model X. I think that's what the SUV is, the Model X. Just like those cars can drive themselves for the most part. In fact, they can completely drive themselves, but because of worries in our infrastructure, they made it illegal, so they actually had to override that system, I guess. on those cars so that they will only drive themselves for like 30 seconds at a time, and then they make you touch the wheel so that it knows that you are still paying attention to the road, I guess. The Tesla truck, like I said, being $145,000 for the battery, and then the technology going into the cab itself to do all that stuff, I would have figured that would have been easily an additional $200,000. Again, speculation. Don't shoot the messenger. So, at $200,000 on top of the 145, you know, that's roughly 345, 350, which is what the Nikola truck is. And that truck is part hydrogen and part electricity. So I figured a truck that's all electricity would have been more. That's just, again, me coming from a trucking background. I look at all the trucks that offer this technology, even to a smaller degree, and say, well, hell, if they offer it to a smaller degree and still cost $350,000, then it only makes sense if the Tesla truck that offers it to a greater degree would cost more. But if it can actually cost under $200,000, then I'm impressed. So, if it actually costs, well, they're saying $150 for the small truck and $185, I think it is, for the bigger truck. That's great. That really is, because that would very quickly, the driver would very quickly see a positive in his return for the for his investment. The truck itself would become a very resourceful investment very quickly. Not having to worry about oil changes, not having to worry about diesel, not having to worry about any of that stuff. One issue I have, oh boy, get your fingers ready to criticize. One issue I do have is the charging stations. All right, for those of you that are not truck drivers, this is the issue. Right now, when you go to a truck stop in the middle of the day and you need some diesel fuel, you can expect to be there, depending on what city you're in, how busy the city is and whatnot. You can expect to be at that truck stop just to get fuel for 45 minutes to an hour sometimes. Because you've got to sit in line, you've got to wait, and then that's just waiting to get to the pump. Once you get to the pump, you can be done pumping within 10 minutes or whatever. Well, not even that long, 5 minutes, something like that, depending on the size of your diesel tanks. Go inside, get your receipt, come out, leave. So you might be there for a total of an hour, depending on, like I said, the time of day, the city you're in. A lot of things come into play. So with that said, if that happens with the charging stations, I know you all say it takes 30 minutes, and then your argument for that is, well, we have to take a 30-minute break anyway, and that's right, we do. But if it takes us an hour just to get up to that charging, it's going to take more now, because it was only taking 5 minutes to fuel a truck up, and you still had to wait in line for an hour, right? So now if you got to wait in line for someone to charge their truck for 30 minutes, then you're going to be sitting in line for 2 hours, possibly. So that will really hurt. That will really hurt some of the potential income for these truck drivers, especially those get paid by the mile. The owner-operators, things like that. That'll hurt. That's something that I got a feeling that people didn't think about. It's the little details that matter. And I know some of you criticized me by saying, well, don't you think that the people at Tesla, they're really smart, right? So don't you think they would have thought about all these things before they actually designed the truck? Well, no, I don't. I don't think they would have thought about how long it actually takes to sit in line before you reach the pump. I think they thought about how long it takes to pump, but not how long it takes to actually get to that pump once you're at the truck stop. And that's a big deal. So if it takes 6 times longer to essentially fuel the truck up with electricity, then that means you're going to be sitting there for that much longer on top of an hour or so while you wait in line to get to the charging station. And it's going to compound and snowball as each truck takes an additional 25 minutes to charge up compared to fueling. It's just going to compound the issue. So that could be a problem once electric trucks become more common on the road. It won't be a big deal as they, start their journey, so to speak. But as more companies and more owner-operators buy them, then it will become a big deal, unless they do heavily keep up with the demand of charging stations. And they're going to have to, they're going to really have to keep up. They're going to have to put, right now, fuel, like a lot of pilot truck stops have 10 fuel lanes. And it still takes that long to fuel, right? So, they're going to need, 20 charging stations, at least, per truck stop, to at least somewhat minimize the wait time. So it's going to be, that's a pretty big deal. That's, of course, I'm suggesting that, assuming that eventually it's all electric, you know what I mean? That is not me suggesting that that would happen right away, because like I said, it won't. But, like I said, I'm here in my pickup, so I'm going to cut it off here. But, I will admit that I was wrong on the price. Again, like I commented and replied to a lot of you guys, a lot of the respectable, which not most of you guys were respectable when you were replying. Some of you guys were just, downright buffoons, but most of you guys were good. But as I was replying to some of you guys, what I was basing my speculations and opinions on were my experience in the industry and other trucks that will compete with that, that have already been brought out, like the Nikola truck, which utilizes much of the same technology, only it also utilizes hydrogen. So, I don't know. I would expect that to be cheaper because it's not all electric, or maybe it's more expensive because they're implementing hydrogen into it as well. I don't know those kinds of details. That could be why it costs more, because they're also using hydrogen. So maybe I'm looking at that wrong. But another gripe I do have about the Tesla truck is even the big truck, the sleeper, did not look like it was very big. All right, the sleeper looked pretty small. And as a truck driver, this is our home when we're not at our actual house. So it's nice to have as much room as possible in the sleeper, and I didn't see it in the Tesla truck. So I don't really, that could be a big downfall, because a lot of these owner-operators that stay out for weeks upon months at a time, they don't want to be in a cramped sleeper. So that could have an issue with selling these as well. So I don't know. We'll just have to see. All we can do right now is wait and see. Walmart has bought some. Well, they haven't officially bought them, but they put their $5,000 deposit on them. I don't know how many they bought. I want to say they bought, 10 or 15, something like that. And I think another company bought some. Was it U.S. Express? I can't remember who. I think U.S. Express bought some Nikola trucks, or to put their deposit down on some Nikola trucks. But time will tell, and the free market will prevail. So I have a feeling that if they are able to keep them below 180,000, and if they're able to enlarge the sleeper, I think it'll be a pretty hot seller. So we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, that's all I really wanted to say about this, guys. So we'll see you all later, and leave comments below. You can say whatever you want to. I don't care. So leave comments below, and we'll talk to you guys later, all right? We'll see you all later. For those of you listening out there that are truck drivers, and I guess for those that aren't truck drivers, I'm sure you still got to be safe. You all stay safe out there, and hope you all are making some money. So we'll see you.